2019 JCI Vice President and Regional Program Advisor at Spark, Firas Deeb from Syria. 2023 JCI Lebanon National President, Maria Zahra Farhat. 2023 JCI Lebanon Senate Chair Lady Aline Sherenian. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, and distinguished leaders. Today, I stand before you with immense gratitude as we gather for our 12th National Convention of JCI Lebanon and 2022 award-winning National Convention, Rising Minds, in its second edition. Our journey today is more than a convention. It's a bridge between the rich history of our organization existing for 108 years and the innovative future we collectively envision. The mission of the JCI is clear: to provide development and leadership opportunities that empower young people to create positive change. Our vision is ambitious: to be the leading global network of young active citizens. We are determined to help local businesses thrive, supporting our community. Motivating the workforce through youth entrepreneurship is not just a goal, it's a promise. As we move forward, we prioritize taking care of mental health, recognizing it as the foundation of positive change in our society. I'm deeply honored to be part of this transformative journey, made possible by the collaborative efforts of EU, Spark, and the solid foundation of JCI Lebanon. So, let this convention inspire ideas, deepen connections, and foster positive change. Let's rise. Now, before we dive into the heart of our discussions and panels, I would like to welcome Mr. Jean Calafian, the founder of Lebanon Networking Hub, our esteemed media partner, a true leader in community building. So please welcome on stage.
Hello, everyone. Before I start expressing my gratitude for this amazing gathering, I want us all to take a second to acknowledge JCI Team Lebanon for being able to bring us all together today in rather confusing times in Lebanon and really challenging times as well. So Lebanon Networking Hub, or LNH, which is right here, as it indicates, is a place where entrepreneurs, professionals, and freelancers from various industries come together to collaborate, to network, and to create opportunities that we believe are to make Lebanon just like we wanted, because we're still here. So we would want to see a better present and a better future for Lebanon. Our mission is straightforward. If you would join LNH, which is just a WhatsApp group, as you see, you will never miss a business, a networking, or startup-related event in Lebanon, because we've worked so hard for the last year on partnering with almost 15 universities in Lebanon and all the leading institutions in the startup ecosystem to make sure every single entrepreneurship, business, startup-related event is broadcasted to our community members, which are now above 1,000 members. And we've proudly served more than 25 clients in the last year, catered to around 3,000 to 4,000 individuals, and proudly worked with some of Lebanon's best entrepreneurs. With some of them are right here in the room. And as we are advocates for entrepreneurship in Lebanon, and we believe in the mission that sharing entrepreneurship-related content brings value, sustainability, and makes our economy a little bit better by empowering people to create jobs, because as we know, everything related to economy is about job creation, and entrepreneurs are the ones who create jobs in the country. And by our active participation in the Rising Minds event, we ensure that this mission is fulfilled, and we are aligned with this event's goals. So now I would like to thank JCI Lebanon, the EU, and Spark for making this event happen, and let's just make this a memorable day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Jean. Let's warmly welcome Ms. Randa Awad, a driving force for positive change and regional program coordinator at Spark.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, I'm Randa Awad, the Regional Program Coordinator at Spark, and it's indeed an honor to extend a warm welcome to each one of you at this significant event. Spark, a distinguished Dutch international non-governmental organization, has been actively working to create a better future for youth and their societies through education and entrepreneurship throughout the MENA region, including Lebanon. Within the framework of our From Innovation to Creation program, we have three main objectives: promoting the competitiveness of startups, fostering financial resilience, and advocating for enhanced policies that will create an enabling environment for innovation and startup ecosystems. These policies are formulated based on the best practices observed in both the MENA region and the European Union. In collaboration with 8 esteemed organizations, such as Beritech, AUB, the Darwaza Center, Injaz, and the Lebanese League for Women in Business. Among others, Spark is dedicated to supporting startups with a particular emphasis on those led by women within the 3 sectors: green, digital, and agriculture. Our focus extends beyond just the support to startups. We also aim to provide comprehensive capacity building for innovation support organizations. These organizations equip their members with the essential tools and knowledge required to empower startups in the domain of innovation, sustainability, and impactful contribution. Furthermore, our engagement extends to active involvement within stakeholders in the startup ecosystem who play pivotal roles in shaping policies and frameworks. Our commitment is dynamic, not limited to practical support for startups, but also extend to fostering a conducive environment through active policy, advocacy, and knowledge exchange. In line with our program objectives, we gather here today with experts, academics, and entrepreneurs to discuss the importance of the green sector and digital transformation, which we believe will play a key role in sustainable economies. Spark is deeply committed to nurturing Lebanon's startup ecosystem. We firmly believe in a localized approach. Our programs are developed in collaboration with and for our local partners, ensuring a tailored and impactful contribution to the region's growth. Recognizing the seamless alignment of our objectives, we chose to unite our efforts by extending our support to the Rising Mind initiative. It's a great pride for us to be a sponsor of this event. We are delighted to embark on a journey of collaboration and sustainable economic development for Lebanon. In conclusion, I express my sincere gratitude for your presence here today. Your support and engagement are crucial as we collectively work to empower startups, advocate for innovative policies, and contribute to the sustainable growth of our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Randa. And now, a big round of applause for an exceptional dynamic leader, strategic, bold, yet warm, JCI Lebanon President for this year, Maria Zahra.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, all protocols observed, good morning. I'm honored to stand before you at the opening of the 12th National Convention, Rising Minds. This event, an award-winning initiative, is a crucial part of the From Innovation to Creation program funded by the EU in collaboration with Spark and JCI Lebanon. As we embark on this journey under the JCI Rise initiative, our collective goal is to equip businesses and young professionals in Lebanon with essential skills and opportunities while championing entrepreneurship. Facing economic challenges and the impact of COVID-19, JCI Rise commits to 4 overarching goals: rebuild, invest, sustain, and evolve. These objectives are a call to action, pledging to rebuild economies, boost workforce morale, and prioritize mental health. We align with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and we focus on mental health awareness, UN SDG 3, workforce empowerment, UN SDGs 1, 4, and 8, and business recovery, UN SDGs 9, 11, and 12. Through Rising Minds, we envision a holistic approach to address immediate challenges and lay the foundation for a thriving future. I am pleased to announce our esteemed partners, Stitch Think Spark, a dedicated collaborator in realizing our vision, and Lebanon Networking Hub, our media partner, extending the reach of Rising Minds. We also show gratitude to the Radisson Blu Martinez Hotel for hosting our event. As we delve into the day ahead with workshops and panel discussions, let's seize every opportunity to learn, grow, and collaborate. Together, we can create a positive impact beyond this convention, contributing to the resilience and progress of our communities. Wishing you a great experience at Rising Minds, and let's rise together for a brighter tomorrow. Thank you.
In our first discussion, Navigating the Digital Landscape, we will explore the evolving technology, integration of AI and entrepreneurship, ecosystems, challenges, opportunities, skills, and many more. Allow me to welcome the 2023 JCI Lebanon Director of International Relations, Mr. Hussein Kassab.
Good morning, everyone. I'm super glad to be here with you today and to be moderating this really interesting panel with our esteemed guests. I'll start with Dr. Manal Jalloul. We are privileged to have you with us, an artificial intelligence expert, educator, and entrepreneur. As the co-founder of AI Lab, Dr. Jalloul is striving to democratize AI education in the MENA region and beyond. And she's on a mission to make AI an easy to understand as your morning cup of coffee. Hello, welcome. Yes. Joining us also is Dr. Rabih Baalbaki. Now here's a man who knows that the E in e-governance doesn't just stand for electronic, but it's also for extraordinary. A pioneer in digital transformation and e-governance, a president of ED Tech Syndicate in Lebanon and founder of ACTC, Dr. Baalbaki's contributions are defining how technology meets education and creating innovative learning pathways. Welcome, Dr. Rabih. Sorry. Up next is Mr. Rudy Shoushany, a tech strategy expert in ICT governance, cybersecurity, financial technologies, and founder of DX Talks. With over 2 decades of experience, Mr. Shoushany's insights into digital information strategies and his role as international consultant and mentor add a new dimension to our talk today. A warm welcome to Mr. Rudy. And now completing our panel is Dr. Carole al Sharabati, blending academia and technology as a professor at St. Joseph University, a research director at Siren Associates and managing partner. Her technological impact extends to co-founding CME offshore and impact extends to and advocating against corruption with Sekret Dikkani. Dr. al Sharabati recently celebrated a notable success at the Paris Peace Forum, where her innovative use of AI for fact-checking set new standards in the field. A warm welcoming and congratulations. Sorry. So I just had this. All right. But mic. There's mic. Oh, no, sorry. Yeah. Okay, hello. No, it's so basically, we will divide this panel to three sections. We'll talk first about the digital.
بدك تحطهم هون.
Allo, allo? Yes, this is. Yeah, so firstly, I want to welcome you again, and I'm super glad to have you with us in this event. Firstly, we'll start in our first section. We'll talk about startups and digital and entrepreneurship ecosystem in Lebanon and the MENA region. And we'll start with you, Dr. Manal. In your experience, how can startups and SMEs, small businesses, here in Lebanon effectively leverage AI to enhance competitiveness and innovation capacity?
So hello, good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me. Thank you for JCI Lebanon and for Spark, LNH for this wonderful gathering and conference today. Well, bringing up AI to the discussion is a vital step that we are doing here in Lebanon to empower our citizens, our SMEs, our community towards using AI to flourish, to enable a sustainable future for Lebanon. Now, when it comes to SMEs, AI is no longer an option. It is a necessity. Adopting AI and integrating it in the business workflows of SMEs by entrepreneurs, by startups, has become a necessity. Not only for merely following technological advancements. I know AI has been, the word out there for the past year. However, today it has become an integral element if you want to flourish and improve your business outcomes. Now, specifically for SMEs or for startups who are still perhaps lagging behind in the budget-wise, and they want to improve their workforce, they want to improve their business outcomes, they're lagging behind in the budget. So AI tools here and using AI can be a very important element to make it easy for them to flourish and to improve their business processes. This is why they have to look into how they can integrate AI, look which business processes that need to be enhanced and can use AI tools for that integration.
All right. Next to Dr. Rabia, what key digital skills do you see or should SMEs or startups should be focused on to develop this to successfully navigate digital transformation in their business?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Hussein. Actually, if you look, I look for it as a reverse engineering. Now we are diving in the fourth industrial revolution, whereas AI, Internet of Things, robotics, immersive technology, cloud computing, cybersecurity, 3D printing, and integrating of different, let's say, digital-based solutions and the products. Like when you say, I want to integrate satellite with the AI, with the cars, with the drones, whatever. So wherever you go there, you can mining and search for the ideas that can, as Dr. Manal mentioned, where you can find the ideas for your entrepreneur, for your startup, for your inquiry and the project-based transformation for the idea from just being an abstract education to being an applied project. And for this, the most important, which is not a linear skill, it's an interactive skill, it's design thinking, where it's started with the human and it's end with the human. And basically, during this interactive process, as we always mention, you have to find the idea that provide the community with SDGs, as just mentioned, and we focus on two SDGs in this case, the SDG 4, quality in education, and SDG 9, the infrastructure and innovation. For these two, for me, There's many skills in between that you have to learn, but basically it's up on what kind of faculty you are and what you are studying. So you have to map your skills based on this reverse engineering and based on the what you want to implement and to start with. So one example, or I will give 3 examples. If you are a graphic designer and you want to map your digital skills, you need like Adobe, you need Corel, you need CD Studio Max. You need many digital skills that can support your career. In the same time, if you are studying engineering, you need Autodesk, the digital skills of Autodesk, which now, as AI based, all of it, I believe, by 2024, all the leaders of digital companies like Google, like Amazon, like Autodesk, Microsoft, they will, like Adobe, they will have embedded AI, generative AI inside their solutions. And these solutions that we need in order to pass through this design thinking class. And we will talk more in deep about this if the time just give us a chance.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Rabih. Going back to Dr. Sharabati, as a co-founder of a multinational technology firm, what strategies would you recommend for Lebanese startups to effectively scale and operate in international markets?
Thank you, Hussein, and hello, everyone. From my experience, it seems that in the technology field, AI has become a must in any solution. You cannot develop technology software anymore without putting the AI. What is interesting here is putting the AI does not mean training machines and doing algorithms and doing the maths behind it. That's not enough. It's the big challenge now, and the added value is about using the AI to solve the problem and conceiving the AI and conceptualizing the AI solution. And this skill is not necessarily a mathematical skill or a pure engineering skill. It's a skill that has to be informed by social sciences, by economics, by politics, by behavioral sciences, by psychology. So I think it's becoming more and more important to be multidisciplinary in the team constitution of any company and start to understand the mechanics of the operation in any organization of human being so that you produce AI that is well targeted, has impact, is useful. That's a very important thing. The second very important thing, and I should stop here, is that AI has a big risk of being biased and of not serving in a fair way its purposes, and is to going into a cycle where it starts to talk to itself and drift away from its initial purpose. So it is very important when we construct solutions and add AIs in these solutions to have this critical approach to the product that we're developing and start to think about how to conceive a permanent critical review of this AI output so that we make sure we catch it in case there is a drift, in case it starts to go towards some biased results, because it's learning, after all, from data that is biased. So it's going to start to be biased, and it's going to produce more biased output, and it's going to learn from more data that's biased. So it's very important to embed into any solution something that, you know, puts a brake on this and controls for this drift. So these are my 2 key ideas.
Thank you. Based on what Dr. Sharabati said, Dr. Jalloul, you have driven AI adoption in the startups ecosystem. What are startups' critical challenges in integrating AI, and how do you think they can overcome these or them?
Yeah, so as you said, we have actually through AI Lab empowered a lot of startups in Lebanon to actually build their AI solutions. And one of the biggest obstacles, actually there are many, but one of the biggest obstacles is the availability of data. So startups and SMEs, any enterprise need to start having a data mindset. start having a mechanism for gathering data, for labeling data in their workflows to be able to build up an AI solution that is viable for their use case. So this data gathering process might be a big obstacle, especially when they start to brainstorm a solution for their specific problem that they are targeting. Number two is infrastructure, computing infrastructure, and the cost associated with it. Actually developing AI, training AI systems, especially as we go to generative AI and large language models, these type of AI solutions do require massive computing power. And what we could do is to rely on the cloud for computing resources to actually build up these models and to deploy them. However, this comes at a massive cost. So startups need to assign a big budget towards that if they want to build up their own solutions, especially if they're thinking about scaling them in the future and be able to serve, a bigger market, bigger target audience. Scaling these models requires scaling these computing resources. Unfortunately, in Lebanon, we're still lagging behind in the available computing infrastructure. Countries, nations around the world are building their own supercomputers to serve their startups and entrepreneurs ecosystem in order to facilitate building and deploying and AI solutions on their own. So rather than just relying on available open source or paid AI tools and use them in your work, the second step, which is the ultimate goal, is to empower our own startups and entrepreneurs and tech companies to build up solutions themselves. And to do that, they will require computing. And it is a massive, expensive element. This is where governments and funding comes in, and to provide that facility for people to be able to innovate in the space of AI.
Thank you. Mr. Rudy, next, we know that there are specific cybersecurity measures that should startups and SMEs take to protect their digital assets and operations in today's evolving tech landscape. Can we talk a little bit about this based on your experience?
Sure. I'd just like to add one more thing. When you go into any company today, you discover, because data is the main element of anything, you discover the data, they have it, but it's not well structured. Not structured possibly sometimes at all. They have it structured for their own business output. So, for example, we go inside banking or financial institutions. Those are the most funded companies or biggest companies. And then you discover that they use the data simply for their output of the business, for the report. But there's so much untapped data, so much unstructured data, so much data sitting doing nothing. But now they want to discuss AI, right? So what happens to this data? Adding cybersecurity to this, because both of them are fundamental. You need the right structures of data to be protected, to be archived, to be indexed, to be available. And you discover, funny enough, that data is not there. So we have to go back now. Most of the enterprises or the SMEs or even the entrepreneurs, they want to start somewhere, but they're not taking care of the basics. So we have to go back to the basics. Taking care of basics is by identifying what's your core business, what are you offering, and then how you can actually benefit to the max of your data. Because simply, who doesn't have data today? Any business has. And if you don't do anything with it or about it, either you're not going to benefit from this rising trend of AI, I would call it, because AI has been there for how many? Who knows how long has been there? ممنوع تحكي. كمان ممنوع تحكي. Seriously, it's been there. It's been there for 70 plus years, but that's not the question. It's been enabled for the last 1 or 2 decades for us as normal people, especially within the last decade, because as Dr. Manal mentioned, cloud made it somehow accessible, still expensive, but somehow accessible, somehow. And this is where we need to empower them to create something local, because I've worked with different international companies, and then now I'm somehow working with a technology institute of Abu Dhabi, who is the creator of Falcon 180B. And those guys, they are an international team, of course, but they are enabling Arabic for the first time. And then they are the open source of large language model. What does that mean? You can download it and then run it on your own servers. And this will empower you. And in the same time, you need to protect the data. And this is where it is a must. As a built-in digital company, and then now we see a lot of rebranding of biggest companies are rebranding into tech companies. Why? Because they need to drive data as their essence. If we look at Tesla is a car manufacturer, but in reality it's not. It's a tech company. So the mentality of how you supposedly work now should change, going back to the basics of data, protect it, enable it, because protecting it is something, enabling it is something, doing something with it is something else. For example, again, going back to Tesla, it's not just a tech company, it's not a car manufacturing, it's not battery, autonomous cars and so many things. It sells data. What? Because it's collecting huge amount of data and it's making it as a service. So this is very important. How can we, us, enable the startups in this space?
Going back to basics, as you just mentioned.
Going back to basics.
Yeah, all right. Thank you. Moving next to Dr. Jalloul, as an executive member of the Global AI Ethics Institute, what are your views on establishing a fair global governance system for AI, especially considering the diverse cultural and regulatory landscapes?
So talking about AI ethics has become one of the most vital topics today, because as Dr. Sharabati just mentioned, AI is widely spread, and we are adopting and using AI without paying attention to the ethical issues that might arise out of it. And specifically, perhaps bias is one of the issues. Number two, issues of data privacy. You know that when we consume these models, ChatGPT, for example, so this is something people usually don't know, but you are providing your data to the model. This is an open source tool. It gathers your data, it uses it to train their models, and then your private information might be given to somebody else across the planet who's also chatting with the engine. This is why enterprises need to have a regulatory framework, a governance framework for the AI tools that they are using or for the AI tools that they are developing. What kind of regulations do they abide to? Data privacy regulations. Like in the EU, they have their data privacy regulation law. In the Gulf region, Saudi Arabia have developed their data privacy laws and regulations concerning AI and adoption and usage of the data gathered from people. When it comes to our country, we're still lagging behind on these specific regulations that need to be highlighted, brought up to the spotlight, right? Because everybody is using AI tools. All enterprises are going into either using open source tools or perhaps going one step forward, developing their own AI tools, which is the ultimate, picture. However, what are they doing when it comes to their target audience? Are they protecting the privacy of their target customer or not? Are these tools that they are using not providing or exacerbating the bias in these tools? Do they have a framework to test these tools or the AI systems that they are using against bias, benchmark it continuously to detect any issues there? Right? What mechanisms they are doing in order to, fight those issues and challenges? These are big question marks that need to be governed by a regulatory framework, and having a kind of a universal regulatory framework for AI is a bit very critical and very hard to achieve because we have cultural differences and nations have different priorities when it comes to AI. So one country, perhaps the EU, are going towards over-regulation when it comes to AI with the recent AI Act. However, that's a major, critical step, because if you over-regulate an industry or a technology, you will stifle innovation. And a lot of startups are flying away from the EU towards perhaps the US or Middle East because they don't want to follow the EU's over-regulation when it comes to AI. So you have to have this balance. Do you want to encourage AI innovation? At the same time, you want to protect the privacy and issues related to bias, societal impact. So different economies have different priorities when it comes to AI, specifically if you talk about societal impact. Like, I want to empower my economy, but what are my priorities as a nation? Do I want to empower my workforce? So I don't encourage using AI tools that replace humans. You see, do I want to fight environmental issues, solve environmental issues? Okay, I encourage, I provide funding towards this kind of development. So I channel where does the funding go, in which direction when it comes to AI. So this is where governance comes from. And having just a uniform, international, global, single governance regulations is very, very, very challenging due to these differences. And this is why where the solution comes from is to have kind of a consortium. We need to have kind of a team, international team, and this is what we're starting to see by the UN, having a kind of a league representation from different nations, from different backgrounds, from different stakeholders, bringing in AI experts, bringing in governmental agencies, bringing in academia, the private sector, everybody, the humanitarian society, everybody needs to come into the table, negotiate, talk about their views, and agree on what's suitable for us as humans as we embark on our journey going forward.
Indeed, thank you. Dr. Rabih, based on what Dr. Jalloul just mentioned, and highlighting this can be happened locally by awareness mainly. We can start it by for the SMEs or for startups or for young entrepreneurs or any user for ChatGPT, for example, to know and understand that this is we have to protect our privacy for some instance. If this can't happen internationally, as you can see, because it's challenging. So, is this happening here in Lebanon? We are doing this awareness.
Actually, there's two main issues here. The first one, the regulations and the policy. We already have general data protection regulation, but it's it took around 13 years in order to be published or approved. And then the AI come to the ground very fast, so it needs itself upgrading. So the regulations in Lebanon, it needs upgrading, and at the same time, the problem, this is going very slow. And because we don't have now government, we don't have this pushing for the digital strategy transformation. Even it get to more to download, not to downgrade, not to upgrade. So it was a real action plan for the strategic digital transformation, and we, Jamal, Rudy, and the Digital Transformation Network in Lebanon worked very deep on this, but it returned back to a framework. So I think there's a big challenge related to the regulation and policies, and it's all together, the data protection law and the sensitive personal information law. It's all in one law. And I believe by AI now, you need to go in more details, more regulations, especially when it comes to the AI itself. The second issue is you said awareness. I can't say more. It's an educational must. Responsible AI and ethics or AI ethics supposed to be embedded in the curriculum, maybe through digital transformation as a digital citizenship curriculum. Different tracks, different process, all the cycles, and this already under regulation, it's already there, but nothing in action. So we have both these things, and absolutely when you come to the personal initiatives in Lebanon regarding the startup or initiatives or regarding the clubs you have for or associations, the civil society. The role of the civil society in raising the awareness about the AI and about the digital transformation responsibilities. So it's there, but it's still not under a real must regulations by the government. So we need all to work together under something called PPCP, Public-Private Community Partnership, because the communities are the most faster to achieve the goals. Private, they are looking for money and looking for financial business development. And of course, government, which is the public sector, always have many and many barriers because of the situation in Lebanon. It's not like UAE or like Europe or other countries.
Definitely, definitely. Up to you, Dr. Sharabati. Do you think AI now is considered the main pillar that drove or driven the digital upskilling in most of the countries?
So I think digital upskilling is about many things. It's not only AI. It's everything in the upskilling. It's code writing, no code approach, DevOps approach, architecture approach, cybersecurity, and AI is part of this. So AI is one element, part of a whole environment. You know, you take an AI engineer, I've had this experience with our teams, you take an AI engineer, you put him alone, he can do nothing. He needs to produce an interface, to produce an engine, he needs to deploy, he needs to make his solution usable, he needs to make solution secure, etc. So there's the whole dynamic around it. So upskilling AI is one element. Let's not make a big deal out of it because it cannot survive without everything else. Without everything else in technology, and without everything else in the social sciences. I reiterate what I said earlier. So I think it's part of a whole ecosystem of production here. And I think that trainings and upskilling, again, I'm insisting on this, have to be multidisciplinary. We cannot box people into one specialty because they need to see what's going on the other side so they know how to connect the dots together to produce. So that's one thing. Now, the other thing is we need to keep in mind that production of AI is going to be less and less building foundational blocks. And it's going to be more and more using some of the foundational blocks to produce solutions that have impact and that produce output. So we will less and less need, you know, the deep mathematical skills and modeling. And we will more and more need the assemblage skills to respond to a problem and answer a problem. And this is also something very important to take into consideration in upskilling programs.
Interesting. Mr. Shoushany, from your extensive experience in fintech, can this sector drive innovation and economic growth in Lebanon, especially for SMEs and emerging entrepreneurs?
You mean the fintech?
Yes.
Our dependence, I would say, now, especially now, is fintech. Fintech mentality, fintech entrepreneurship. Not just because banking has stopped. That's a problem. We need it back. But because we need new solutions. Even though pre-2019, we didn't have the best solutions. And innovation on the fintech was really small. Really small. We need actually much more. And building in Lebanon, testing in Lebanon, and scaling to the region is something we can do. So not just building for Lebanon, but building for outside Lebanon. So we have double-edged advantage. Now, going back to fintech and the economy and how it can help, if we have the right will, that's the problem, will, to embark Lebanon to the digital age, because we have, I think, all of the strategies are there, to a certain point, the laws are there, but we don't have...
You meant individual will or the government will?
No, the government will.
Yeah.
That's because we want innovation coming from entrepreneurs and startups because we want them to solve problems. And if we're not solving a problem, there's no need for it. But we need also the government somehow to enable this ecosystem, even though it can flourish by itself. But what's happening here, you know, we saw in the last, since 2013, small hype, I call it small even though it's big for Lebanon, but it could have been 10 times bigger, of entrepreneurship and then pushing in the space, trying to find solutions for our problem. But if you look in 2019, where are they? 90% has either left or died. So we need more sustainability in the space. I need to empower the people. How can you today purchase? How can you do financial transactions? Banking has stopped again. We need to innovate on the space, and we need to find fintech solutions. Now you hear that there are some fintech solutions coming out with digital wallets or some other stuff, but that's not enough. We need us to enable. We need everybody to push this agenda of how can we move forward into finding solutions for us. How can we, maybe we might not, ultimately we do, but temporarily we might not need the government for loans and lending and whatever. We can do it on peer-to-peer basis. So is this something viable for us to help each other? Maybe at this point of time, yes. Is that the ultimate scenario or whatever? No, but we need something until we find a solution with the government, and then maybe regulate it, because until further notice, regulation is very slow. The sandbox or the testing of this is barely available, where there's a lot of innovation on the regulation technology wherever you go now. For you to create a new idea and then regulate it with central banks or authorities, financial authorities, has become super fast, where in Lebanon still, again, if you want to create a new product, it takes you years upon years upon years to get approval, if you get an approval, because the skills are not there also. The will is not there, and how you're going to approach it and which mentality is a problem. But I think we discussed this previously in one of the panels. Lebanon has a potential to enable fintech and other solutions in a digital government or whatever. If we talk about digital government, it's a full-fledged of services that we can all work on. If you talk about helping citizens, trying to create products and financial products, that's another innovation by itself, and it needs a whole lot of resources. And the problem is, how can we keep those resources? That's another challenge we need, to have resources locally and then keep them in Lebanon, empower them in Lebanon, using fintech and using other means. And today, finding solutions or investing in technology, I always emphasize on this, you don't need millions. If you want to create a new manufacturer or whatever, you need millions to create it. You need to buy land, you need to create a factory, industry, whatever. And there's a lot of, but in technology, you need few thousands of dollars or just your digital skills. Apple store is there, Google store is there. You just find the right problem, innovate on it, launch it, and then that's why I read they are developing leaders for a changing world. That's what I think, have to prioritize now.
Interesting. Moving forward, based on what you've said, that's why I should ask Dr. Jalloul about that. To build these minds, or these digital skills should be equipped with aspiring entrepreneurs, considering the importance of education and entrepreneurship. How can AI be integrated within the educational programs to better equip those entrepreneurs in the future, especially here in Lebanon, with necessary skills and insights for this digital era?
Yeah, so today digital skills are no longer only for people in the tech field. So previously you only go to computer science degree or to engineering degree and you take these digital skills and programming skills and so on. However, today it has become a vital skill. And actually the international recommendation is to start teaching our kids in K-12 education, to start integrating AI. Exactly. It has to be integrated. And this is the international recommendation is to integrate courses teaching coding from K-12. Starting in K-12 education, elementary schools, AI skills, AI courses have to be integrated within the curriculum early on. So just like you teach kids math and languages, you have to teach them coding. This is no longer a skill that we should just keep towards if they decide to go into tech. This is a vital skill everybody needs to know. And it's not coding for the sake of coding. It's coding in the sense of problem solving, right? Have to take a problem, how to solving using these tools that are available. Perhaps we are moving towards a low code or no code ecosystem or world. However, still learning how to code is a unique skill that teaches students primarily problem solving skills. How to define a problem, formulate it, look at an algorithm. Actually writing the code is not the trick here, and knowing the syntax of the language. It's the logic, the algorithm itself. I teach coding courses in university, and this is the first thing we say. We're not teaching you a syntax of a language. We're teaching you problem-solving skills. How to apply mathematics, how to apply whatever tools that are available. Like if you are into the coding space, we know now there are libraries to do basically everything you want. So the blocks are there. All what you have to do is just put them together to solve a problem. So this is why this needs to be integrated in every single curriculum. And not to mention ethics, digital awareness, you see, and these things people need to know the dangers, the challenges out there of the tools, of the technology, of the digital space, right? And it is no longer only for a particular industry, it's a general education. And we're starting to see this trend even at the university level. A lot of universities are now integrating these courses for the general, across campus, across disciplines, across majors.
Programs, yes.
Exactly. So it's kind of a requirement. Everybody needs to learn basic coding. They need to learn basic AI terminologies, non-tech skills. They need to know about cybersecurity, the challenges in that space. They need to know AI ethics as well.
Amazing. Here I should ask Dr. Rabih as well regarding these trends. What are your insights, if you can share it, on the key trends during digital transformation here in Lebanon and in MENA region that are equipped in education?
Along with the journey of the EdTech Syndicate for less than 2 years, actually we have the regulation there. We have the law. It's for coding and robotics. Already it's there. Again, it needs approval. It needs to be set on site, whatever, if it's a paper book or it's a digital interactive books, but it's supposed to be curriculum based. And for the private sector, it's already there. For the public sector, it's almost now prototyping or proof of concept.
Lebanese university.
Yes, I mean schools, because
schools.
Dr. Manal mentioned the schools. For the universities, it's easier because there you will take the challenge. You must take the challenge in order to upskill towards AI or digital skills in general, especially the specialized skills. But for the public, yes, the law is there, and we pushed a lot in order to have it approved. But because of the circumstances now, it's like Rudy mentioned, it's going very slow to implement it. So usually, again, digital, social, or civil associations, syndicates are more active and more fast to implement it, but it's not enough. You need all the joint venture in order to approach it. On the other hand, if I want to, let's take an example. I want to give them like a practical example for upskilling in skills. Orientationcenter.org or onetcenter.org, one of the American labor huge platform where you can map your skills, not only digital skills, as Dr. Carole mentioned. So you need to map multiple layer of skills, starting with communication, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity, digital citizenship, character itself. It's a must, and of course, when you mix all these skills together and you need the tools, the digital tools, to get the output for AI or for the different factors, pillars of the fourth industrial revolution. You need a academic reference that set up all of these skills, and it's not easy to map the skills based on, especially based on your culture, based in your system. So till now, it's independent. For the private sector, it's there, as I mentioned. But you need also to have like a standardization in order at least to find an applied inquiry-based projects, solutions, where I believe skill can bridge the knowledge with the values. So you can't bridge your values because you need motivation, so it's there, and you need a result that can have a value for you, especially the SDGs, as you mentioned, and gentlemen mentioned in the starting. Yeah. So it's very important to have a goal. So the goal is the values, the community. And one of the 9, I want to talk here to the youth especially, one of the most important entrepreneur factor, one of 9, is entrepreneur in social responsibility. And we need it in Lebanon. We need this kind of entrepreneur. Of course, digital skills can play a main role. Why? Because as Rudy mentioned, digital economy, which is the nerve of the digital economy, is the nerve of the knowledge economy. So it's an IP, it's intellectual property. So you have the idea, you have the facilities. If you have the SDG 9 there, you have infrastructure, and you have an innovative idea, and you have a good quality curriculum and applying SDG 4. So for me, all the SDGs will be implemented. 16, 17, the strategic partnership. 16, the governance. Governance is very important because you mentioned about the governance, but governance, one main part of the governance is digital, let's say, democracy. It's not about applying solutions. It's about a lifestyle mindset. How you can interact with the solution. Whatever you're talking about, health tech, fintech, edtech, defense tech, whatever. So you need to put this together in order to have a strong output, especially when you are talking about the curriculum, which talk in reverse engineer, as I mentioned before, what's its need in the marketplace, and how you can drive this into curriculum, inputs and outputs.
Very insightful points, Dr. Baalbaki. Standardization and having a landscape of, you just mentioned something related to social responsibility.
Social responsibility.
Yeah, this is very important, and that's why I should ask Dr. al Sharabati about it. Implementing this in universities, from your experience in academia, how do you see universities playing this, supporting this, these points, or what we were addressing, to nurture this ecosystem or this mindset in general, particularly in tech-related fields?
So there are two things. There's what university does outside and what the university uses inside the university. So university has a role in the country of a key activator of research, development, innovation, and probably accelerating the acceptance of technology by the government, by the regulator, by the decision makers. Because if they don't accept it, it's going to slow a lot the private sector. And our private sector today, let's face it, is producing for the export. We're not producing for the local market because the local private market is broke, cannot pay for it. And the local public market doesn't want it because it's afraid of the transparency and traceability that it produced. So I think the university here has a key role to step in, in a way as a moderator and as a catalyst of a better acceptance of the technology and the AI-driven products, because at the end of the day, it's science. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's science that will inform decision, that allows better decisions, more optimal decisions, to serve better the society. And I think the universities can play a role here by partnering with different stakeholders. Now, within the university is also challenged by AI. So those of us who teach at university have seen the evolution, the fear by the teachers from the AI, because the students go and generate the answers. So the first reaction was to prohibit AI in class, and that was a huge disaster. So they realized that they cannot prohibit access to AI. Then the next reaction is to start to learn about AI and see how they can integrate AI. But you know, if you think about it, the university should not react bit by bit to technology development AI. It should jump 5-10 years ahead. University administration should close their eyes, say, where will the world be in 10 years? Where will the youth be in 10 years? Okay, let's jump ahead and develop the new model of university. The new model of university does not have chairs like this and people lecturing like this and a board like that. That does not work anymore. And the demand is not for this kind of model anymore. But the supply is still providing the model. So the supply is in a big gap towards the demand. And I think the universities need to think differently. AI is revolutionary the way we revolutioning the way we teach. It's not anymore about providing information. It's not even about inversing the class. You know, now they think that inversing the class and having the students develop their own content, okay, it's fine, it's one step. But beyond this, you know, the students can go to an AI and have it generate the content there. So we need to even go beyond this. And there's a really solid thinking about it. So maybe teaching should become teaching by doing, teaching by producing, by constructing. I don't know. There's something else that has to be brought into the university because of this whole AI thing to integrate it into teaching.
This is really interesting. Thank you. Mr. Shoushany, you have been actively coaching and mentoring students or people or individuals in the startups ecosystem. What key advice do you offer to entrepreneurs and startups to excel and innovate in today's digital world?
It's interesting. My coaching and mentoring career started only 4 years ago, though I was involved in it in a different way, in a corporate world, but not for entrepreneurship. It was intrapreneurship, so it changes. But both of them are related one way or another. Multidisciplinary skills are really much needed. Digital skills are...
So this is, as Dr. Al Sharabati have mentioned earlier. Yes.
Because today, we was just speaking before this, and the same thing. What is tomorrow? What's happening tomorrow? Does anybody know? Well, at least for me, I don't know. Why I'm saying that? Because the request that will come tomorrow, if I'm not multidisciplinary, I will not be able to cater it. So we have our goals, our targets, our vision and whatever, but we get bombarded and the market is shifting always. So how do you keep on track into this? And that's why the World Economic Forum did not fail in reporting that the first 6 skills are soft skills. And that's a good thing to pause on. It's not hard skills. I think the 7th is AI. But the first 6 are soft skills. So for you to be able to succeed as an entrepreneur, before learning the technical skill, you need all of your soft skills to be sharp. Something very similar, something very small. Communication skills, networking skill, and. Perfect. You cannot perfect them day one. But do work on them. That's why if you work on younger age, pushing them more, failing early, and this is very key, creating ideas and failing early, learning, and then moving on, those are things I totally advise. And especially for the youth, do try the corporate world, but also do try entrepreneurship and do fail, because this is the only way you learn. But try to push your own path into heavy learning, and it only comes from failure. So learn from your fail, but fast. Fast and fast and fast.
Amazing. Moving forward to our last section for today, Dr. Jalloul, how can AI address environmental and sustainability challenges, especially within the MENA region?
So AI today is helping us solve a lot of problems, a lot of challenges that have bothered humanity for the past hundreds of years. Today, we're able to develop solutions for waste problems, for environmental problems, for any kind of sustainability problem that countries suffer from. So in our MENA region, there are a lot of ways we can tackle the problems and the challenges we have. So if we focus on energy problems, for example, and how we balance renewable energy production with the electricity supply, governmental electricity supply, AI could be the solution to do predictive analytics, to predict the amount of power that could be perceived by renewable energy and manage the supply accordingly. We could have predictive analytics also to discover faults in the transmission lines or electric facilities before they happen. You see, we can solve traffic problems by AI by also predicting congestion, particular areas, designing solutions for it. Policy making, for example, it can do fast data analytics. If we have a proper data gathering, structure and power, we're able to have designated AI models that can study the data, analyze it, and come up with policies that target, specific problems or faults that have been detected from the data.
But this can't happen without the
you need the
solving
data.
the barriers
Exactly.
that we already talked
So
about earlier.
Exactly.
Budget and budgeting
Exactly.
and other stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. So number one is having a data mindset. Number two is the infrastructure. Number three is the digital awareness and the skill set. Right? So workforce upskilling is a necessity. So you need the people to build that and to think about the problems and to be able to spot them in order to look at what AI solutions could be targeted towards that particular problem that we're looking at.
Indeed, exactly. Yes, Dr. Baalbaki, how, based on that, how, with your role in the MENA EdTech Alliance and the Arab Union of EdTechs, how do you see these alliances influencing policy and practice in educational technology in general?
Good question. Actually, in the same time during Expo Dubai, we announced the MENA EdTech Alliance. Because there's something happening in UAE from 2018, and it was planning for the digital economy across the MENA, especially the Arab world. So in this case, you have to, of course, take many considerations. And one of the most important consideration is the equity, digital equity. And when you talk about digital equity, here, I believe the gap between the public and the private, it's been driven from this prospect. How you can have the equity regarding the internet access, how you can have equity in getting to coding and robotics. And we just discussed this with Dr. Carole before. If you want to now to integrate, or you have to embed it inside the curriculum. So you need microcontrollers, you need some stuff, you need some software, some licensing. So it's costly. So equity here can be affected if you are not drive it in the right way. This is one. The second, for this we created MENA EdTech Alliance. The second one is the collaboration and the knowledge exchange. And when you are talking about SDGs, it's not related only for the country itself. Let's take environmental technology. There's a lot of investment now in fintech, environmental technology, and of course in the food industry, especially when it comes to the agriculture and tech issues related to the AI, e-farms, millions of ideas there. What we did actually, we started with something very easy step. We didn't find it before. It's about writing the job description of EdTech based on different levels. The first level is the technical one to empower the vocational education, because I believe the vocational education, because of the digital skills, it will be needed in the educational normal system and in the university curriculum. So vocation will be developed very fast because of AI and because of the fourth industrial revolution, because you need to implement. The second level, it was about, and it's very important, about the curriculum development and the content itself. What kind of content, what's quality of content you need, how you can take in consideration the learning styles, the multiple intelligence. It's not about reading from only a paper. If you want to create, if you want innovative minds, you need to go, especially with AI, in more deep diving. And in the same time, it's very similar to what's happening in the neural brain and the deep learning and learning machine and the AI, which is started with a human and ends with responsible AI towards the community. So what we did, we create for the HR, for the government, for the educational institute, a playbook, very easy steps, and of course with the collaboration and coordination with the Ministry of Labor, in order to create standards for the job description of EdTech, educational technology. Because AI is a very small part inside EdTech, but it's now a must, like Dr. Manal mentioned and all my colleagues. So to finalize it with one thing, when we went to the curriculum development itself and to the content, instructional design is there, educational technology content is there, because if you take just the Arabic content, we have only 0.05 valuable content in Arabic. And imagine this wonderful language, which we had supposed to celebrate it in the 18th of December. So we just have 0.05% of the content. And this is very important to mention here. So they focus in the university degree or diploma degree in the content creation with valuable content. Verified, validate, responsible, whatever. So it's all there. The third level, it was the managing of the EdTech. How you manage the EdTech, how you plan, how you put the strategic visionary, especially when it comes to the new normal, when it comes to the fourth industrial revolution. So you have to take considerations, the regulations, the curriculum, the technical softwares and consideration of the skills, digital skills. And here, finally, it's about the competency itself. When you talk about competency, you talk about the organization competency and the individual competency. And you have to bring by a certain visionary strategic plan to match both of them. When you match the individual competencies with the organization competencies, I believe you will get a very amazing, powerful approach. And for the competency, just because I told you before that it's a bridging the skills, the digital skills, especially digital skills, it's a bridge the knowledge with the values. So the competency, it's knowledge, skills, and values. For us, we focused, especially to avoid the religious undermining or pushing. So we took the SDGs as the values. So if nobody will bury you, nobody will say, let's say it's not feasible, it's against the religious or whatever. You are talking about 17 SDGs. Drive it to your country, you will be reaching the international standard. And you need the digital skills and you need the digital solutions and the AI to drive it very fast.
Awesome, yeah. Dr. Sharabati, in your presentation in the United Nations Forum, how do you see the role of technology in driving sustainable development, particularly in the Arab world?
You mean the Paris Peace Forum?
Yes.
So the Paris Peace Forum is a forum actually about peace, and it brings different levels of knowledges, including the technology and the AI knowledge, towards peace building initiatives. And one area that I worked on is, I can bring that up, is disinformation. Today, misinformation and disinformation is a huge thing, and it triggers hate speech, and it can lead to more tensions and more conflicts. So AI has been brought here as a tool to detect disinformation and to help dismantle it and to help counter it. So the more AI are generating fake information that you see on your WhatsApp groups, the more AI needs to be developed and faster to counter this, dismantle it, and allow the user to easily detect this. What this is, one of the big lessons from the Paris Peace Forum is first that AI can be an AI used to destroy, to be destructive, and it can be an AI to be used to be constructive. And one cannot say we need to work to slow down the destructive aspect of AI. We need to race faster from the constructive. We need to go faster.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to turn the arm against itself to a certain extent. And this is a very important thing. The second very interesting thing in the Paris Peace Forum is that the technology and the AI producing units, startups, youth, were part of a forum where we had decision maker, high level international relation organization, and there were interactions and bridges between them. And what was interesting is a new form of diplomacy today where the startups, the youth, the innovators, the AI producers are participating in events where there are decision makers, regulators, thinkers, donors, funders, who are also thinking about these big challenges. They cannot think about them anymore without putting, all the stakeholders together. So those who are developing these AIs and who are building these startups, they have a big role also to inform, the regulators, the decision makers, the policy making, because this is where the knowledge is coming from bottom up now. So it's even, switching, the whole diplomacy is being switched now because of the way we produce and the technology and the new way of initiating startups and products.
Agree. Dr. Mr. Shoushany, first, if you want to talk about how technology firms balance rapid innovation and economic growth and sustainability, we have to consider ethical considerations. We already talked about this earlier. One of it might be bias, destruction, maybe related to AI. What are your views regarding that?
Which one specific?
Ethics.
Ethics. Before going to ethics, she's an entrepreneur by herself, right? Entrepreneurship doesn't stop. She found a solution, she found a problem, and then catered a solution. That's what the spirit is. All of us should have. Going back to ethics and the world of, I think ethics is being challenged at this space today. Any ethics is being challenged. Human ethics are being challenged in general, not just the data, not just the technical part. So it's really interesting. But going back to the ethical part of this digital world that we are living in, I think it's a crucial time for us to be able to, I won't say fully control, but limit the effect on it, because it has a huge effect on our lives. That's why you see Europe. Funny enough, Europe has started in their Privacy Act since 1950s, not 2000s. And no, it's part of their DNA. Maybe they are overdoing it one part, maybe. But it became kind of a DNA for them. And this is what we have to go back in our ethical part, is try to make it kind of, again, through bringing it early, teaching it not just as a skill, but teaching it as a way of living, of how we can grow our companies, our institutions, because if we're not using data in an ethical way, we're going to be having problems. And again, that's a challenge, because I have a new theory that even if the UN stepped in, which they are, they will try to control it. Yet again, there will be some, I won't call him malicious, but third party that will be able to always fight the system, and then they can control how many countries we're today, plus 200 plus, make them sign this paper that today doesn't mean anything anymore. But yet again, somebody out of those 200 will come and create unethical solutions or something. That's a human mission beyond just us, I would say, at this point of time. That's why the big players are redemanding this. And what happened 2 weeks ago with OpenAI itself, I hope you are following the news, but beyond that, Sam Altman was fired and reinstated, but what's happening behind why he was fired and what are they developing, why there's a big crisis and bells are ringing in the world of AI, and then how you can limit this. It's a bit scary.
Let's address a big question and concern before ending up our
Could be,
discussion.
yeah.
If, in general, for all of you, will AI replace jobs, specific jobs? In
Will
the future?
AI?
And we all ask this scary question, and we were asking about what you just said. Something we address in our minds. Will AI replace other jobs or specific jobs?
I will ask you.
Yes.
Will AI replace
what do
jobs?
you think? Yeah.
But show of hands, will AI replace jobs? Do you know when it will replace jobs? Do you know when it will replace jobs? Is when you quit. When you say it will replace your job. This is my personal belief.
Yeah.
Of course, we like to believe that.
I've been thinking why we talk here. What stops you from having 4 AIs, one that is impersonating, the entrepreneurship startups expertise, one the teaching expertise, one the education expertise, one the academic expertise, and ask them the questions you have asked, knowing that they have been scanning the whole internet and the whole open data, and they're much more knowledgeable than us. So is your job going to be at risk? The answer is no, because you will organize events like these, but the people you will bring on these events will not necessarily be sharing information in one direction. You will have a networking and an exchange of information.
And that's something you cannot have.
And a more interactive process. You will have 3, 4 machines that will be, throwing the information on screens for whoever wants to read them. So your role will change. You will have to think more intelligently and in a more interactive and social way about your event. Use these machines, but go one step above. So you will take the dumb things, you'll dump them on the machines, but you'll do the more intelligent things, and you'll do the more rewarding things and the more critical thinking driven things yourself. The AI will never do critical thinking to emulate old experiences, right? Or it's gonna gather the information and give it to you in a panel, but it will not go beyond the existing information.
Or something happened in this room. Yeah, or something happened in this room, you will not know. Again, I'll go back. Only it will replace you when you decide. That's why keep yourself relevant. This is very important.
We want to end up, if we can wrap up in 1 minute. Yes, you can say that. Yeah.
Here, one comment. Actually, now we are facing AI from different prospects. Which is digital twin. And for me, it's duplicate you. It's not reducing your skills or reducing your performance or your productivity. Now, a doctor, of course you can. If I'm a doctor now, and I'm, let's say, using the digital space to more extend my experience or my giving, okay? So maybe someone, again, in Africa, I'm talking here more about digital equity again, but from social prospect. And he needs me. maybe for eyes operation, maybe for anything. In digital twinning, I can be attending there by arm robots, by very micro and very precise technology using IoT, very secure. And this is a problem because of the 5G and 6G now. We are talking economical war between the US and China because of this. I believe digital twinning can extend your productivity, can extend your performance and not reduce it.
Yes, Dr. Jalloul, you have something to add
Yeah,
before ending up here.
Yeah, there's one thing I'd like to mention and stress on is what differentiates us as humans. So we have to remember that we created this technology as we have created other technologies throughout the past. And with each new technology or industrial revolution, it only triggers growth. So it is the time for us to just grow, adapt, to move to a different level of intelligence. So we are trying to create an intelligence that can automate the tasks we do now so that we can be innovative, move to a different level of intelligence and progress as a species. So this is what differentiates the humanities. We always progress and we move forward. So, and only people who stagnate, they will fall behind. Those who are adaptive, they learn new skills. Problem solvers, critical thinkers who adapt, they find out new challenges and try to solve them. They will just move forward and they will keep growing with the moment. It's with a continuous learning mindset, with an adaptability mindset that you're always gonna grow. And no matter what technology other people, any technology that comes up, you're gonna use that technology. You're gonna use it, right? So you're gonna use it as a tool to just move forward, solve even more challenges that you couldn't solve in the past, and progress as a humanity, as an entire species.
Indeed.
That's my take on it.
Thank you. What an insightful conversation. I'll leave now for any questions you have from the audience. Yes. Firas.
Thanks. It was very interesting session. I think we feel that we need to hear more because we feel behind in terms of all these technologies that's coming to our houses and businesses and will impact our life. I have question. Maybe I will ask the ladies to answer me. Two questions. One, like, do you envision, like, in the near future that the businesses, the entrepreneurs, will adopt, integrate AI in their businesses for sure, or it will be always space for businesses without the AI? That's the first. And second, it's normal, like a lot of jobs will be demolished and will lose a lot of jobs, but that the future always says that it will be a moment that some of what we see now, it will be gone, and then we will have another kind of jobs will be created. So about job creation, what do you think that jobs in which type it will be more increase rather than the coding and the IT, and it's also connected to the AI.
So the first one on businesses moving to AI. What is AI at the end? If you simplify it, it's data-driven decision. It allows you to make better decision. Every business is in a competitive market, and for it to be more performing, it has to take better decision. And to take better decision, you need to rely on the data. So integrating AI, I think it will be going down all the way to the mom and pop shop in terms of use. Now, the cost of AI will go down. You know, you don't have to produce your own AI. You can use existing stuff, and it's going to be a plug and play very quickly. Anna, I see it within 2-3 years becoming a plug and play market for small solution for businesses to use it. So data-driven decision is very important. Now, for the big businesses, there is another use, which is not only data-driven decision, but it's also a tool for them to shape behavior. So it's a tool that helps them shape the behavior of their consumers. And this, again, in the middle of the competition, they're going to go more and more in this direction. And this is where we need the regulation, we need the ethics, we need to make sure that it's done properly. So this is on the business side. Now, your second question was about the job creation. I am a big believer in social sciences. I think these sciences have been in slow motion, developing very slowly because, you know, the biggest brain have been going in engineering and mathematics and medicine and, you know, these hard sciences. I think the social sciences are going to fly, and they're going to be more techy, more hardcore, and connected to the, you know, hard sciences, and they are extremely needed now. Because now it's about taking the hard sciences and better tailoring them to solve the real-world solutions. So I think the type of jobs that we're going to flourish are jobs that are driven from the social sciences to a certain extent.
Dr. Jalloul.
Yeah, I'd like perhaps to add one point to what Dr. Sharabati already mentioned, is that the way I envision things is that jobs will no longer have a fixed job description. It's going to be an adaptive role. So when you take a job, jobs will not disappear. However, jobs will need to have adaptability in them. So you don't apply to a job based on a fixed, specific tasks that you're going to keep doing for the next 10 years. These tasks will be adapted. They will change as we grow, as the business grows, right? And you need to be, as a person taking the job, willing to accept that change and to grow with it and to learn the skills along the way. So perhaps plenty of you face that in the job market. You quit a job because you're not growing with the job, right? You're kind of redundant, sediment, you're just fixed, you're not learning anything new anymore. So you move to another role, another job opportunity, perhaps with a specific certain set of tasks that are required. However, there's a learning path. There's a growth associated with it. So now we see that we're going to move towards that trend. No longer fixed jobs, fixed tasks, fixed job descriptions, but a lot of adaptability, a lot of learning, a lot of skills that need to be acquired along the way as things progress. And things are progressing really fast. They are, you know, revolving, changing breathlessly, and we're just we need to be able to keep up with that progress and to be dynamic.
Yeah.
So jobs will be more dynamic and more interdisciplinary and not rigid anymore and not specific, right?
Yeah, hopefully. Questions? Any questions? Yes.
Actually, I have a question for everyone. And I think you can all help me. I want to know all of your feedback. So, for young entrepreneurs, what tools can we use that are available right now to help us either gather data or also do like data analysis in order to make better decisions for our businesses?
What specific business, Heike? It's a general question, but what?
Let's say it's a small business, like it's a shop, as you were saying, Dr. Sharabati. Let's say it's a small shop and starting new. So I know that mostly big companies right now are focusing more on data gathering and analysis. But how can we apply that for our own, like small businesses that want to grow bigger and?
Sure. If you want to talk about, let's say, the marketing side, because you also need data. Today there's hefty numbers of sources for marketing. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can use already trained, not models, trained applications such as Meta, Facebook, or whatever, so that you can grow. Now, talking about using AI a little bit into your job, you can definitely use a lot of available models that you don't have to reinvent. This is very crucial today. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. And there's a lot of data sets available online. Okay, you can tap into at any point of time. There's most of them are unpaid, so it's free. And there's some that are specific to market segment, given from the industry itself, so there might be some fee. Or you have data. And that's more important than the others, because those are customer related and personalized to your need. So you can drive data into them. Now, going back a little bit on the jobs, The jobs, again, it will disappear or not disappear, that's another thing. But how do we equip with the future things? How do we equip you with future job skill into data analysis? That's what we are looking for the next. For example, doctors, right? We know all of the doctors, how they work. For example, in the X-ray business, they now need to integrate data science into their personal job. How can we enable them? Doctors, I'm teaching a course of digital transformation and AI in USG. And funny, I have 2 orthodontists. They know nothing about technology. And yet, I learned from them what they are doing inside USG sector, trying to push the digital transformation agenda. Because today, there's innovation happening there. So this is kind of the thing where you have to go back to the basics again. Try to find out your data. You have a lot of data, untapped data that you didn't know. And unfortunately, because the way we work, we don't capture data. User behavior, Google Analytics, integrating with Google Analytics by itself is like a heaven of data gathering that you can. So getting the cycle of your business fully integrated into data perspective. Did the client click on this on your website? Why did he click? Why he did not click? What was the most top 10 clicks, whatever, This is available, you can grab them today. But what do you do with them? Possibly nothing. So start from your own business, and then as market studies, there's a lot of studies and data analytics that can give you and help you a lot.
Maria, do you have a question? You want to add something?
I can get a few ideas here.
Yeah.
Depend on what stage you are. It's a journey. I'll start from the simplest stage. The simplest stage is to put your data on an Excel sheet and connect it with something like Power BI, Tableau, Kibana, whatever, and start to visualize it. It's very important to visualize it. Once you visualize it, you're going to have to improve and enhance your data structure, your own data structure, and you're going to visualize it better. Now, gradually, as you start to visualize data, you're going to start to need to get more projection out of your data. And this is where you start to link for tools. So your tools are in categories. If you're working with the language, you're going to go look at NLP tools. And in the Arabic, for instance, there are a lot of open source tools, like Arabird, for instance. You can take it and build on it. So a lot of open source tools that you can go and integrate. In the image analysis processing, there's open source. In the video, there's open source. In the GIS, there's open source. So I think it's a journey from building your own data, visualizing it first, analyzing first, informing your decision, enhancing it, and gradually your own need is going to grow, and you're going to go tap on the open source existing tools in this particular sector where you want, and you're going to start to look into more predictive rather than analytical output. But a lot of open source stuff, and you can just Google, go on GitHub, depending on what aspects you want to predict. You can take it and plug it.
Yes, hi. Good morning. Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation and panel. I have a quick question regarding a sector that is very dear to me. And I would like to know to what extent local, domestic AI solutions are being developed, promoted, or applied in the agriculture sector. This is very important from many angles, of course. Yeah, exactly, because we're talking about level. It's very important from productivity perspective, preservation of natural resources, and also protection of the environment. So
yeah,
solutions for the sector are very important.
Yeah, so there's plenty of solutions, and we have we have a very strong tech ecosystem here in Lebanon, and a strong agri-tech program, perhaps by Beritech. It was funded by Beritech, encouraging a lot of projects and entrepreneurs to venture into agri-tech specifically. Now, one thing that I've noticed is that unfortunately entrepreneurs who have reached a good stage in their startup are migrating away from Lebanon because they're not able to get enough funding within the country because of the banking system that is halting here. So they are moving to either the Gulf most of the time, where all venture capitals are based there, and provide them with the funding in order to grow their startups into other levels. So this is something that hinders progress and improvement in that field, although we do have a strong entrepreneurship ecosystem. But kind of moving beyond their seed, the basic stage. Once they have a concrete idea, they just move away to grow. They're not able to grow right here from within our country because of the financial hazard, challenges, specifically because of the lack of a transparent banking system, which lets venture capitals shy away from providing enough funding to these startups. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Thank you for our esteemed panelists. A big clap for them. Yeah.